traffic delays, so you are stacked from Vernon Avenue. As we head into Boyle Heights, a wreck is in lanes on the 10 westbound off to the 5, and you remain slow and go from Soto Street. The safety clears that as well. And in Porter Ranch, a stall is also on the 118 westbound on-ramp from Balboa Boulevard. Watch for some slowdowns.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the time?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers found their offense Tuesday night against Atlanta. They snapped a 3-game losing streak with a 141-116 win at Crypto.com. The 141 points was too shy of their season high. The Lakers had 36 assists and made 56% of their three-pointers, 19 of 34. LeBron played last night. For the first time this season, the 41-year-old star played in the second game of a back-to-back. After playing 33 minutes Monday night at Sacramento, LeBron played 33 minutes Tuesday night and led the Lakers with 31 points. He also had 10 assists and 9 rebounds. LeBron is not letting Father Time boss him around just yet. The Lakers are at home Thursday night against Charlotte. The Clippers are back in action tonight. They're at home against the Washington Wizards at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The Clippers have won 3 straight. They are 10-2 since December 20th. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is pleased to partner with the Empowerment Congress once again for their 34th annual summit. The summit's theme is From Vision to Action, a forum to unlock participatory democracy, and will feature a nonpartisan gubernatorial candidate forum focused on issues of importance to the African American community. The summit is the signature public policy-oriented observance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy during the national 3-day holiday weekend that celebrates his life. This year's summit will be held on Saturday, January 17th, 2026 at the California Science Center in Exposition Park from 9 to 11 a.m. Admission is free, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. All major announced candidates for California governor for the Democratic and Republican Party nominations have been invited to participate in the candidate forum, which will be moderated by Tavis Smiley. An all-star panel of journalists will pose questions to the candidates, and the forum will be broadcast live on KBLA Talk 1580. This is going to be a big year for local, state, and national politics. The political pulse of 2026 beats on KBLA Talk 1580.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavismiley.show.com. That's thetavismiley.show.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. Today's one of those days, another one of those days, where we try to squeeze an 80-pound show into a 40-pound bag. Let's see how we're going to do this. In our second hour, 2 conversations. Up first, legendary journalist Bill Curtis reflects on his amazing broadcast career in his new memoir, Whirlwind, My Life Reporting the News. On the B side of hour 2, a conversation with Raquel Graham, Shark Tank winner, CEO of Rock Innovation, and host of the radio program Entrepreneuring with Raquel Graham. Today, we'll talk to Raquel about how black-led investment funds are faring in the era of Trump 2.0, the benefits of franchising, and why Africa is the next frontier for black entrepreneurs. Raquel Graham on the B side of hour 2. In our third hour, 2 more conversations. Up first, comedian and actor Jermaine Fowler joins us on the top side again to preview his new horror film, Night Patrol. And on the B side of hour 3. Oh, yeah, you know that theme song. Television writer, let it ride. That sounds good, Andy. Television writer and actor Ilunga Adele looks back on his time on Sanford and Son, which premiered today, on this day, back in 1972, with a theme song, of course, from Quincy Jones. Did you know that? Quincy Jones wrote that theme song? Faraji didn't know. I told him today. That nigga was lying. He didn't know. That's Quincy Jones with the theme song for Sanford and Son. It premiered again back in 1972 on this day. Ilunga Adele went on to work for many other great shows, including 227, A Different World, Rock, and Moesha, to name a few. We'll celebrate that on the B side of hour 3. But in this first hour today, 2 more conversations on the B side of this hour. We'll catch up to Bishop William J. Barber II to discuss the upcoming Time to Love Forward Together Moral March and his organization's ongoing resistance to ICE. So Bishop Barber joins us on the backside of this hour. But all that said, we commence today's show, again, trying to squeeze this 80-pound show into a 40-pound bag. We start with my Mississippi homeboy, U.S. Congressman Bennie Thompson, who you all know was chair of the January 6th Select Committee. Hard to believe that insurrection took place 5 years ago. Congressman, I haven't talked to you this year, so although everything ain't happy, Happy New Year anyway, sir. How are you?
Well, Happy New Year to you too, homeboy.
It's good to hear your voice, man. Good to hear your voice. I said a moment ago, it is hard to believe, at least for me, that it was 5 years ago this insurrection happened. Again, you ran the committee, the January 6th Select Committee. We'll talk about that in a second, but does it seem like 5 years to you already?
Well, look, absolutely not, because we're in this age of Trump. And, you know, the thing that bothers me so much is this guy continues to lie and deal in chaos, and we're a better country than that. So this is just Donald Trump 2.0.
With all the chaos that let me use your word. With all the chaos that we are surrounded by every day, say nothing of the most recent murder in Minneapolis. What is your sense of how Donald Trump is with his behavior, ratcheting up that base, ratcheting up those same persons who we saw storm the Capitol 5 years ago? Is he aiding and abetting them in ways that we ought to be concerned about?
Well, absolutely. And the thing that bothers me the most is his weaponization of the federal government assets against citizens who disagree with him. You know, one of the good things about this democracy of ours is freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, those things that we've held sacred. And now all of a sudden, ICE is saying to people all over the country that if you look a certain way, we can stop you, we can harass you, we can assault you, just because we are who we are, and we have the president, the attorney general, and other individuals to back us up. And so that's where we are at this moment. And unless we get a grip on this, it's going to only get worse.
Just getting started with Congressman Bennie Thompson out of Mississippi. As you know, once again, he's the guy who chaired the January 6th Select Committee, and I've said it many times, I say all the time when I reference him as my homeboy from Mississippi, that but for him and his leadership, his strong leadership of that committee, our democracy might be in worse shape than it is right now. At least that committee was able to keep the guardrails up and to give the backbone that they didn't have at Department of Justice to do what needed to be done. I'm still in my feelings about Merrick Garland dragging his feet. That's just me, dragging his feet. But Bennie Thompson gave him all the evidence he needed to finally get his behind in gear. And again, we'd be much worse off, I think, had that committee not done its work than we are right now. And this ain't a pretty picture, obviously. When we come forward, I want to pick up on the point the Congressman makes a moment ago about Donald Trump using all the levers of government, all the assets, to quote his word, all the assets of government to do the nonsense, to engage the drama that we are, again, subjected to every single day. I was just thinking, walking the studio today, that if you are a protester in Iran right about now, Donald Trump likes you. But if you're a protester in Minneapolis, he can't stand you. Somebody make sense of that for me. I digress for now. Bennie Thompson's our guest. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
BET and PBS, The Tom Joyner Morning Show, and NPR, the cover of Jet and the cover of Time. #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 20 honorary doctorate degrees, a dozen NAACP Image Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. From talk shows to talk radio, nobody's ever done it better. You like that? This is Tavis Smiley.
Hi, it's Tavis Smiley. For 40 years, I have had the privilege, and I don't use that word lightly, the privilege of sitting down with presidents, world leaders, authors, artists, activists, the folk who shape our world. Thousands of conversations, tens of thousands of questions. And somewhere along the way, I realized that the art of conversation is dying. So here's what I'm going to do about it. I am now going to teach what these almost 40 years have taught me, how to have conversations that matter. 6 courses, from the anatomy of a great conversation to generous listening as a superpower to handling difficult exchanges without losing your dignity or your mind. Go to TavisTalks.com right now. That's TavisTalks.com. Download the free guide, see what's coming, sign up to be the first to know when we launch the series. Conversation is a skill, and like any skill, it can be taught. I'll see you in class.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Let's get back to more of this rich dialogue with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and U.S. Congressman Bennie Thompson out of Mississippi, the chair of the January 6th Select Committee. Before I go forward, let me just go back one more time, Congressman, if I can. I don't know that I've had a chance to ask you this. Maybe I have, but let me just refresh my memory if I did. But I'm curious to know how it felt for you after all the work that you and your committee did. Donald Trump comes in. This wasn't no surprise. he made it clear that on day one he was going to pardon those protesters. And when he got in, that's exactly what he did. How did you and how have you, here we are now at the 5th anniversary of this insurrection, how have you processed, again, all the work that you and your committee did, only to have Donald Trump come in and to pardon all those insurrectionists?
Well, obviously, it's not a good feeling. It's not a good moment for this country. You have to understand, a majority of these people pled guilty on what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Another group were convicted in a court of law being judged by their peers. And so ultimately in this country, we have a system of jurisprudence. It worked, but if politics go wrong like they did with the elections, you have a Donald Trump. So now some 40-odd people that he pardoned have already broken the law again.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole notion that somehow he can pardon that many people. Now, I want you to understand, Tavis, none of them applied for a pardon. We didn't have a pardon attorney. Normally, when you go through the pardon process, you get checked out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, we didn't have a pardon attorney at the time he did it. He signed a blanket pardon for 1,500 odd individuals, and so he really didn't care if people had been lawbreakers. But he wanted to send a message that I'm back. I don't care what these individuals did. I don't care what you saw with your own eyes on what they did. I'm going to pardon them. And then, on second thought, we back our law enforcement people. Give me a break. So this individual, and I want to get to something that happened recently that bothers me more than anything else. But Tavis, demonstrates on a daily basis that it's all about him, his family, and his wealthy friends. It's not about democracy. How do you in Venezuela talk to the oil companies before you talk to members of Congress, before you go kidnap a president, and then you tell the public, well, if I had told Congress, it would have leaked out. Give me a break. It's not your choice. This is what the law mandates that you should do. So we are, for all intents and purposes, under a system run by the executive branch that has no respect for the law. It's all about his wishes and his wishes alone.
Is that the thing that you said bothered you more than anything else recently, or is there another point you want to get to?
Yeah, no, look. You heard that he gave a bird to somebody.
Oh, yeah, I'm going there. Go ahead and go there. I was going to go there anyway. Go ahead and go there.
Now, that's the president of the United States. Giving the bird to somebody who called him a pedophile.
Yeah.
I mean, look, what kind of example? Look, I'm a grandfather, Tavis.
Yeah.
Now, what can you imagine me talking to my grandson, telling him, say, look, there's the president of the United States, Thomas. One day, you grow up, you can be just like him. Come on now. We're a better country than this.
Yeah.
And if this is the example that what we are following, we as a country have come to a real point in time where we have to make some decisions.
Yeah.
And those decisions is, are we going to follow the law as written by our founding fathers, or are we going to follow Donald Trump? It's gotten just to that point.
Yeah. Let me pick up on a couple of things you said, Congressman, and give you a chance to opine a little further on this. Let me start with this. So for those who didn't see the video, I can't imagine you haven't. It's everywhere. But yesterday, Donald Trump was in Michigan at a Ford plant, as I recall. And somebody in the audience, one of the workers yelled out, "Pedophile protector. Pedophile protector." They yelled that out a couple of times. and Donald Trump didn't hold back. First of all, he said F you out loud. He told him F you, and then he gave him the bird, as the congressman said. He did both. He said F you, and then he gave him the bird. Now, on this program just a few days ago, we were talking about our whole country essentially going down the rabbit hole, Congressman. Let me bring you up to speed right quick. I've been talking of late, and I've said to my audience, I'm no Puritan, and I've got folk in the audience who agree with me. Some who disagree, as you're being heard all across the country right now. And as I always say, I'm grateful for syndication. We're being heard everywhere, and I've had people reach out to me. Some agree, some disagree. I'm not a Puritan about this, but I think that we're going down the rabbit hole, and this ain't nothing new, but we are. Civility is off the table, and Donald Trump doesn't even know what the word civility means. But you got the mayor of Minneapolis, Democrat, saying to ICE, get the F out of Minneapolis. Okay, I understand the outrage, but again, you're the mayor. You got kids watching you. Everybody's watching this videotape, and if you can't express yourself better than that, I got a problem with that. So he says, get the F out of Minneapolis. That's a Democrat. Now you got Donald Trump saying F you and giving people the bird. Gavin Newsom not long ago dropped the F-bomb a bunch of times in an interview. And I'm raising this because I've been studying this. These political consultants, Congressman, are telling politicians to cuss. They're being told to cuss because it makes them seem more authentic. It makes them seem more real. That's the advice they're getting literally from political consultants. I am not a Puritan, but I don't think that aids and abets the civility that we need in our discourse. That's me. What say you?
No, you're absolutely correct. Look, we can communicate without going off the rails. I think the greatness of our society is our ability to communicate in a manner where everybody understands. That communication shouldn't, in the least bit, become to the point that I have to put my hands over my ears to avoid what I'm about to hear. Mm-hmm. So I encourage the civility. Look, we can disagree, and part of my job here in Congress is to argue my point with my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, but I don't have to become a thug to get my point over. And so for those of us who understand the ability to communicate in a democratic society is golden. Yeah. Because so many other countries don't enjoy that luxury, and we shouldn't abuse it.
Yep. I said earlier that if you are a protester in Iran right now, and Donald Trump happens to love you, and I'm putting love in air quotes, he don't love nobody but himself and his family, as you said earlier. But you take my point. He's not so upset with the protesters in Iran, even as he considers what he's going to do on Iran. I saw Iran say today that there will be repercussions and consequences if he, bombs them or does anything. If he comes in there militarily, Iran has said today that they will respond swiftly and severely. That's what they have said today, as Donald Trump again ponders what he's going to do, if anything, in Iran. But he seems to like the protesters in Iran. He doesn't like protesters in Minneapolis or any place else that disagree with him on his ICE policy. What do you say about that?
Well, there's no question about it. And again, this individual who is president has put a proffer that unless I agree with it, it's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And he's used the levers of the executive branch to make his point to anybody who disagrees. So we now have federal attorneys resigning from office because they are being told not to follow the law. Let's look at Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. Anytime there's been a federal law enforcement situation where there's an accusation of wrongdoing, you always investigate it. Because what you want to do is to clear the air of any ambiguity as to guilt or innocence. Mm-hmm. But within a matter of hours, the Secretary of Homeland Security made this wild statement about, we've looked at it, there's been no wrong, and everybody's gone down that rabbit hole ever since. Mm-hmm. But now we find out that the federal prosecutors, who would have been tasked with part of the responsibility of looking at it, they either have resigned or been fired. in the Minneapolis area.
That's right.
That's not who we are.
Yeah.
You know, no one is above review. Even the President of the United States. There has to be some accounting of what you do.
Yeah.
And so look, we're in this mess about the East Wing of the White House. You've been there, Tavis. That was how you entered the place.
That's right.
Now it's gone from 50 million to 400 million and counting. We got buildings with his name on it all over town that has nothing to do with who he is. Now, what you do understand, in all these countries that he's trying to create relationships with, what do you see? You see the name of that dictator or the name of that person who's assaulting his people all over the place. You see their pictures all over the place. So there's a lot of similarity between what's happening in this administration and happens in non-democratic countries. So we have to be careful.
No question about it. Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Finish your point.
No, so look, the thing I want to tell you is what we've now found out is that all of the governmental records related to January 6th have systematically been scrubbed and or deleted from traditional public files. So we've had to, in so many instances, hide out some of our work so that the President of the United States wouldn't erase it. The Smithsonian, which, as you know, is a repository of everything that's ever occurred in this country, is under assault. The African American Museum here is under assault. So it's like when he says that when the civil rights era came to this country, white men lost their rights. Something wrong with this. You know, I mean, we are a better country than this, and that has to be some kind of accounting for what's happening. And the good thing about the accounting, as you know, is we settle our differences in most instances at the ballot box.
That's right.
And so I encourage your listeners to consider that. Our phones ring off the hook nowadays from people saying we have to do something. And my notion is always, obviously, we have to vote.
Nope, I got it. I got 90 seconds left. I want to give it to you. Speaking of voting, did I read somewhere that somebody has the nerve to primary you?
Yeah, and you know, this is part of the greatness of this country of ours, Tavis. Anybody can run. I have a record. It's been out there, and this person registered to vote in my district 4 months ago. So he can run. But what can I say?
You ain't got to say nothing. I think enough's been said. And when I said the nerve, Bennie Thompson and I agree. This is a democracy. Everybody can run, but you see exactly what it is for what it is, where they moved into the district 4 months ago and decided they're going to run against you. But I digress on that for now. He is U.S. Congressman Bennie Thompson. He was the chair of the January 6th Select Committee, and you heard him say a moment ago that they're trying to hide out documentation because everything's being erased and scrubbed and even set ablaze, I suspect, in certain places, trying to hide this evidence from history. And so we thank him for his work and hope they can, again, hide out these documents so all that stuff doesn't get destroyed. Congressman, have a great rest of the day, and good to have you on the program as always, my friend.
Thank you so much.
All right. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough. But if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. encourage them to see a doctor, or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time-to-talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul and Chicago have sued DHS and Trump-era immigration officials alleging warrantless arrests and tear gas use in the state.
These Border Patrol agents and ICE officers have acted as occupiers rather than officers of the law, as they have rampaged through the Chicago area.
They're asking a judge to halt these tactics near schools, hospitals, and courthouses. Morris Brown College has fired President Dr. Kevin James without explanation despite his contract running through 2029. The move comes weeks before a key accreditation review. James, who restored the school's accreditation, calls it board overreach and vows to take legal action. And WNBA star Asia Wilson is giving back to her roots. She donated her signature Nike A1 sneakers to Benedict College's women's basketball team, her dad's alma mater. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good news in Downey. That collision is cleared off of the 5 northbound off-ramp to Paramount Boulevard, but in the area we are still slow and go from Norwalk Boulevard. As you move into Buena Park, an injury wreck is off to the shoulder on the 91 westbound before Valley View Street, and it continues to have some slowdown from Bricker Street. And in San Pedro, we have eyes on a work zone. That right lane is shut down 47 westbound between Ferry Street and Harbor Boulevard until 2 p.m.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
Is this the Tiger?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers found their offense Tuesday night against Atlanta. They snapped a 3-game losing streak with a 141-116 win at Crypto.com. The 141 points was too shy of their season high. The Lakers had 36 assists and made 56% of their three-pointers, 19 of 34. LeBron played last night. For the first time this season, the 41-year-old star played in the second game of a back-to-back. After playing 33 minutes Monday night at Sacramento, LeBron played 33 minutes Tuesday night and led the Lakers with 31 points. He also had 10 assists and 9 rebounds. LeBron is not letting Father Time boss him around just yet. The Lakers are at home Thursday night against Charlotte. The Clippers are back in action tonight. They're at home against the Washington Wizards at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The Clippers have won 3 straight. They are 10-2 since December 20th. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is pleased to partner with the Empowerment Congress once again for their 34th annual summit. The summit's theme is From Vision to Action, a forum to unlock participatory democracy, and will feature a nonpartisan gubernatorial candidate forum focused on issues of importance to the African American community. The summit is the signature public policy-oriented observance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy during the national 3-day holiday weekend that celebrates his life. This year's summit will be held on Saturday, January 17th, 2026 at the California Science Center in Exposition Park from 9 to 11 a.m. Admission is free, but registration is required at KBLA1580.com. All major announced candidates for California governor for the Democratic and Republican Party nominations have been invited to participate in the candidate forum, which will be moderated by Tavis Smiley. An all-star panel of journalists will pose questions to the candidates, and the forum will be broadcast live on KBLA Talk 1580. This is going to be a big year for local, state, and national politics. The political pulse of 2026 beats on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a black and brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Autopsy Initiative provides a second autopsy free of charge for victims' families who have lost their loved ones due to a police-related death. The services offered through the initiative include the completion of a second autopsy, disclosure of preliminary findings, and a final autopsy report. A police-related death is when an individual is harmed by police officers using deadly force, which results in an individual's death. Police-related death includes in-custody deaths, including those that arise during contact with law enforcement officers during arrest, pursuit, booking, transport, or incarceration. The Autopsy Initiative has a team of board-certified pathologists on call. An autopsy request may be completed by anyone with a close relationship with the victim, which may include the victim's spouse, partner, relative, close friend, or lawyer. To request a free second autopsy for a victim of police violence, please visit knowyourrightscamp.com. That's knowyourrightscamp.com. Then click on Autopsy, then click on Request. At KBLA, we believe in justice for victims of police violence. We say their names, and we don't black down. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed. We thank Congressman Bennie Thompson out of Mississippi for kicking us off today. As I said, got an 80-pound show we're trying to squeeze into a 40-pound bag. Guests lined up every half hour of today's show, and it's going to be a good one. We're going to talk in a moment here to Bishop William J. Barber about this Time to Love Forward Together Moral March and his organization's ongoing resistance to ICE. Getting him on the phone now, I believe. But here is some sound from the march they have planned, which we'll talk about in just a moment.
At the end of the Selma to Montgomery March in 1965, Dr. King stood in front of the Alabama State House and told 25,000 Americans that the greatest threat to the greedy oligarchy is when poor blacks and poor whites and others mobilize together and form a voting bloc that can fundamentally shift the economic architecture of our nation. In America today, we have fewer voting right protections than we did when the Voting Rights Act was passed in 1965. And state legislatures have abused their power to try to pick their voters rather than let the voters pick their legislators. Meanwhile, every day people are suffering while the greedy get richer and richer. Dr. King was right, and many others were right. The billionaires who think they can buy our politicians are afraid of people coming together across dividing lines and building power together. In 2013 and 2014, we together in this state built out the Moral Monday movement. And in 2014, more than 80,000 people showed up in Raleigh for a mass people's assembly. We mobilized our power. We mobilized our vision. We did not continue to just resist what others were doing. We claimed the world that we wanted, the society that we wanted. And what we did energized organized. It was not partisan, it was principle. Here we are again now in 2026, and it's time to love forward together and mobilize. This is our Selma moment.
That's Bishop William J. Barber II talking about this march that's coming up. It's time to love forward together, moral march. And you heard him say in that piece, if you don't know his background, he's in North Carolina, has been for years. And he's the one who started these what's called Moral Mondays. Every Monday, they would head to the state capitol in North Carolina to protest these draconian policies and cuts and the agenda that Republicans in North Carolina, the Tar Heel state, were running that were antithetical to the best interest of black people and poor people in the state of North Carolina. And so he starts with these Moral Mondays in North Carolina, and he's built a national platform, a national stage for his work around poverty. I've said many times that he is doing, to my mind, the foremost work on poverty since the death of Dr. King. You know, the King talked about that triple threat: racism, poverty, and militarism. And Bishop Barber, to my mind, is doing some of the best work in terms of organizing poor people around this country. And so now he has announced this new march. It's called It's Time to Love Forward Together. And I'm pleased to welcome Bishop Barber back to this program. How you doing, Doc?
Doc, I appreciate you. You know how movement is. I apologize to be a minute so late. I really been caught in an emergency, but thank you, Doc, for being our partner. And thank you for calling us together. Tavis, it is time. This is our Selma, and it is time to love forward together. We've been doing a lot of resisting, but you know there was a point even with Dr. King as he laid out those triune evils of racism, militarism, and poverty. And we say that there today is systemic racism, systemic poverty, ecological devastation, denial of health care, the war economy, and militarization of our communities, and this false moral narrative of religious nationalism. We've been resisting those things, but there's a side now that we must stand for what we want, what we believe, a society that we believe, you know, it's vision that causes people to run. You got to write the vision and make it plain. Then the people can run with it. They can do resistance, but at some point, you've got to stand and say, this is what we believe. We have to rally our purpose, mobilize our focus. And that's why we're saying right now, it is time for us to say to folks, if you love voting rights and expanded voting rights, if you love ending poverty and living wages, if you love everybody having health care, if you love love and grace and mercy and not the false narratives of meanness and lies promoted by religious nationalism, if you love all people regardless of their race, creed, color, sexuality, if you love peacemaking instead of warmongering, then it's time for us to love forward together at the state level. We got to nationalize these state movements like Dr. King did. He nationalized state movements. Most of his work was done in Birmingham, Selma, and Montgomery, but it had transformational power across the whole world. And it's time for us to nationalize state movements and love forward together.
Yeah. Let me ask you about that religious nationalism that you just raised. There's a long litany, a long list of things I could point to. I won't, because you get it as well as anybody. But I see the ways in which Donald Trump is showing up every day, whether it's defending the murdering of a precious sister, Good, in Minneapolis, whether it's yesterday in Michigan telling somebody F you and giving them the bird. It's the president telling somebody F you and giving people the bird. There's a long list of things here. But every day I see ways that Donald Trump shows up that the religious right says nothing about. Now, we recall they said we're electing a president, not a pastor. He's the president, not the pope. We know that language. But every day we see him show up in ways that are violative of anything that any person who calls himself a Christian believes in. And yet I hear the religious right saying nothing. Nobody is chin-checking Donald Trump. No naivete here, but why is that?
First of all, because oftentimes they try to call themselves Christian, and that's a lie. It's just like in the Bible when this guy named Bar Jesus took the name of Jesus, but they called him Bar Jesus, and he ended up getting beat up by the evil one because he was lying. He was just putting it on. religious nationalism is the biggest heresy of this time. It is an attempt to consecrate everything that is anti what Christ stood for. Even to now, Tavis, where they're trying to consecrate and ordain and support the denial of empathy, they're teaching in some of these spaces that empathy is the cause of the fall of Western society.
That's right.
Empathy brought civil rights into the empathy, that brought health care and Medicaid and all this. And they're saying it's weakness. So what we're dealing with is people who use the term religion that are not religious about God and God's way. They are religious to their own hatred. They're religious to their own meanness. They're religious to their own persons. And when Donald Trump said the other day, I actually appreciated him saying it because it's a truth that needs to be told. So he told us God fixed it, so he told us with his own mouth. He said the only morality he cares about is his own morality.
Mm-hmm.
He just said it. Mm-hmm. And we ought to hear that. And so those that follow him, so what that means is, number one, he's an idolatrous person and he worships himself.
Yeah.
And so that those who follow him and refuse to say nothing, then they are engaging in a form of modern day idolatry.
Yeah. I want to get
which has no place in a position of faith, but it also means that those of us who are people of faith, true to our religion, whether it's Islam, Christianity, or Judaism, if we're going to be true to it, then we have to be about it right now. We can't expect them this year, because what we're learning is all of this attempt to attach religion to what they believe is a farce. It's just like people who will call something a freedom caucus, and then everything they promote is anti-freedom.
Hold that thought. I want to come to that when we come forward. And I want to give you a chance to go a little deeper on this notion of empathy as weakness. I discussed that on this program a few weeks ago, but not with the Bishop, William J. Barber. The second he goes there, I want to follow him on this notion that we could be living in a country now where people on the right, the religious right, believe that to be empathetic is to be weak. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. If you're struggling with mental health, you should know that there are resources out there that can help. And it's okay to talk about it if you need to. One place to get started with information is loveyourmindtoday.org. Loveyourmindtoday.org offers a range of guides, instructions, and insights for dealing with difficult situations or getting through a tough time. If you're struggling with mental health, get the help you need, because most people out here really care. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Did you know that streaming music, ebooks, audiobooks, movies, and more is available for free from the Los Angeles Public Library? With your library card, you can access the latest music and movies, audiobooks and ebooks, graphic novels, comic books, magazines, and more. If you don't have a library card and live in the city of Los Angeles, you can get a digital card online for free. Check it out at lapl.org/emedia. That's lapl.org/emedia.
Worried about unpredictable utility bills this winter? LADWP's Level Pay makes budgeting a breeze. With Level Pay, you'll receive a monthly bill that stays the same. No surprises. Even past due amounts can be rolled in, and you'll skip those seasonal spikes from heating your home. Sign up today at ladwp.com/levelpay. That's ladwp.com/levelpay, or call 1-800-DIAL-DWP and take control of your bill.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Imagine a Los Angeles where everyone can thrive, where communities have access to the resources they need to succeed. That's the vision of Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. They're dedicated to improving life in LA County by providing educational support, employment assistance, and spaces for community engagement. By 2050, they want LA to be the best place to connect, create, learn, live, and play. They're working toward an education system that's well-resourced and culturally responsive, becoming a hub for artists and innovators, and making sure everyone has access to healthy food, quality health care, and safe housing. It's about building a future where we all have the chance to succeed. We invite you to learn more about their mission and get involved with Detours Mentoring Group, Inc. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley, Bishop William J. Barber II. We invited him on this program, President, Senior Lecturer for Repairers of the Breach at Moral Mondays, which I was talking about before he came on the phone, how he got started, how he came to the consciousness of many of us. His Moral Mondays down in North Carolina. But now he's preparing for It's Time to Love Forward Together, this Moral March that we were talking about a moment ago. But you said something, my time is getting tight. You said something a moment ago that I want to come back to, and that is this notion, especially in a moment like this, where there are those in spiritual circles and religious circles who believe that to be empathetic is to be weak. Say a bit more about that, please.
Yeah, and I question what kind of spirit, the Bible says that many spirits have gone out. Well, what kind of spiritual circle are you in?
That's right.
That's teaching you that to be religious, quote unquote, is to be non-empathetic. Tavis, when you look at this, the word empathy comes from Greek word in pathos. Pathos means feelings. Mm-hmm. So empathy means to be in touch with how other people are feeling. But then it's a step further, and then make a commitment to do something about it. Mm-hmm. It's different than being sympathetic. Mm-hmm. Empathy means I actually I walk in your shoes. I come to your community. So I come where you are without health care. And I see you die or people around you dying because of it. And if I'm empathetic, then I say, how can I change policies to ensure that nobody has to feel like this or go through this again? To suggest that empathy is weakness is really to suggest that any and everything that's been done in this country to change injustices to justice, to change denials into people being denied access to basic human rights, to a place where there are some fundamental human rights. It is to say that everything that was done to build hospitals, to have Medicaid, Medicare, kindergarten, I go down the line, public education, all that grew out of some empathetic impulse was wrong. And that's sick now. Yeah. I'm at a point now I'm not meshing my words anymore. It is sick. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with spirituality. That is a form of social and political sickness. When you wake up in the morning and you have power, and the thing you say you want to do with that power is be unempathetic. It's contrary to everything in any religion that is true that teaches us that we should use power for the benefit of humankind and for the caring and the lifting of humankind, not for ways of just being uncaring or unempathetic and unmoved by other people's pain.
As we said in the Black Church, amen to that. When we come forward in our remaining moments, Bishop Barber will circle back to this march and have him give us some more details about the when, the where, the why, the how you can be supportive and involved in it. You're listening to Bishop William J. Barber II on Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom. Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Join Ignited Light at the 10th Annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service, Saturday, January 17th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Holman United Methodist Church, 3320 West Adams Boulevard, west of Arlington. This service for humanity brings together community providers offering free food and clothing, medical screenings, legal, dental, academic, and career services, plus vaccinations, flu shots, HIV and STD testing, and blood pressure checks. All are welcome. That's January 17th at Holman United Methodist Church. For more information, go to adayon.org. That's adayon.org.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed with Bishop William J. Barber II, President Senior Lecturer of Repairs of the Breach, Moral Mondays, running an institute at Yale. He's a busy brother, and he is called for this It's Time to Love Forward Together Moral March. I've got 3 minutes left, Bishop. Actually 4. I yield it all to you. Take it away.
Well, thank you so much, Tavis. I want to say one word about what you said first about Trump and saying F you and whatnot. Let me say prophetically, we're going to see more of that. It's because what's going to happen, I believe, is what happened in the book of Daniel, when the king refused to acknowledge God and he lost it. When you grow up and say the only thing you care about is your own morality, that is the level of idolatry that I pray for anybody who would engage in it. But in that moment, we have to be clear about what we believe, not just what we resist. So from February the 11th through the 14th, this is our Selma. It's time to love forward together. We're calling all people, faith people, not faith people who believe in the moral arc of the universe, to join us. On February the 11th in Wilson, North Carolina, where they've tried to steal a congressional district, we're walking 45 miles to Raleigh every day, starting at the St. James Christian Church on Martin Luther King Boulevard in Wilson. And then on February 14th, Frederick Douglass' birthday, Valentine's Day, we're calling everybody to come massively that we might say what we love, what our purpose is. We're going to mobilize our purpose, our passion, and love forward together. It's right in the middle of early voting in North Carolina, same-day registration, which is another reason we're doing it. We're saying you need to take your love, your passion, power to the polls. But then we're also doing micro mobilization in our counties, and we're saying to other states, this is what we need to be doing. Let's mobilize in these states. Let's mobilize massively in these states. This is the time for it, and we need to give people a vision of what they're fighting for, not just what they're against. And that's what's going to happen during this period of time.
Somebody asked once, Bishop, not at all rhetorically, what's love got to do with it?
That's it. And what I believe in this moment, Tavis, is that while we resist hate, resistance of hate is not enough to get you up in the morning. There's a song that says, it's not the waking, it's the rising. And what causes you to rise is when you get up in the morning driven by purpose, not just what you resist, but what you're fighting for and what you will fight for to the last breath. And so if you say that justice and equality and liberty, not just a democracy, but a democracy worth having, full of is what I will fight for to the last breath, this is what I love, then it's time for us to put all that love together and love forward together.
I love that. It's not the waking, it is the rising. That's the quote of the day, and I'm only in hour 1. It's not the waking, it is the rising. In the 45 seconds I have left, if we could expect more of what Trump did the other day, F you, giving people the bird, I don't think you're wrong about that at all. We're going down a rabbit hole, as I discussed with Bennie Thompson in the first half hour today before you came on. We're going down a rabbit hole here. How do we survive worse, Bishop?
Well, I think worse in terms of worse for him. He's going to more expose himself and going to force people to have to move away from him.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they're going to be, totally captivated by his crazy. It's kind of an unraveling.
Yeah.
And one of the things, if people want to go to our website, which is www.breachrepair and Substack, we're talking about this on Substack. We're putting information out on what we have to do is be diligent. When the king became unraveled, Daniel stayed true to what he believed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we have to be. Some of this is what happens, Tavis, when you just become so arrogant that you won't even acknowledge God. And there's a kind of an unraveling that exposes you to the whole world. You can keep it hidden for a while, But after a while, it just exposes that you're out of your mind.
Yeah. Hold on to that, y'all. Hold on to that for the rest of the day. It's not the waking, it is the rising. It's not the waking, it is the rising. And then the late, great Maya Angelou said, and still we rise. Bishop, love you for the work you're doing. You know that. Love you for this conversation. I'll talk to you soon, my friend. All the best to you.
All is well, my brother. God bless.
Thank you. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
You must understand, the touch of your hand makes my pulse react. That it's only the thrill of boy meeting girl opposites attract. It's physical.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Florida Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins has entered the GOP primary for governor.
Today, I am announcing I will be running to become the next governor of the free and great state of Florida.
In Tallahassee, Collins touted